Again, as you can see, this is done somewhere in the city. Somebody said sports cars. Somebody said transport, food, tasty food, happiness, knowledge. 1 crore. Maybe with inflation, that must have gone up to like, I don't know, 3 or 4. 1 crore was enough to retire back then. It's no longer enough to retire back then. नहीं 3 में हो जाता है. हाँ हाँ उसमें से 5 lakhs is for the body. Yeah, basically the fear, actually financial freedom किसी ने दिखा था, right? For the really financial freedom is to be able to not just survive. This kind of brings it down to the bare minimum, but you can't be, Gandhiji. You have to, you have family, you have expenses. So to be able to maintain one's lifestyle that one has gotten used to. So in that you have the health of the body, well-being of the family members. You have the kind of accommodation that you got used to, the appliances, the gadgets. If you really break down our expenses and the heads, it will come down to all these goods and services. The internet, a laptop every 8 years, chashma every 4 years, chappal. You add all that up. Toothbrush. तो सब कॉस्टली नहीं है. टूथब्रश, टूथपेस्ट तो सब सस्ता ही है. कितना महंगा खा लोगे इतना भी. The costliest toothbrush you can probably buy like 110 rupees or 120, like a bamboo brush. The plastic ones are cheap, 20-30. इलेक्ट्रिक वाले, हाँ वो तो पहले भी था. इलेक्ट्रिक वाला इंडिया में कोई यूज नहीं करता है. इट्स एन अंग्रेजी थिंग. Nobody in India uses electric. Then people will laugh at you if you use an electric brush. ये आलसी हो गया है. I've never seen anybody in India use an electric brush. Picked up a little bit. Okay. But it's not very common. You don't even see it in the stores. Otherwise, you would see it in the stores, like even in the big superstores. Online, theek hai, but superstores, the big shops don't keep it. You don't see it there. Huh? It'll brush by itself. What will it do? It's like an electric shaver. So it's just going to make that action. I remember when you just keep it here and just keep. You still have to move it. It's not like it'll move. You do this and it'll keep moving on its own. It'll be like a Charlie Chaplin movie. It doesn't happen that way. When I was in class 6, we'd gone for a picnic and there was this boy who'd come from, I think from Germany or something. And when we woke up in the morning, we started laughing. Everybody was laughing. And when I went there, I said, what happened? They said he's not able to brush his teeth and he's upset. I said, why? बोला उसके टूथब्रश का बैटरी खत्म हो गया. I'm like, what? टूथब्रश का बैटरी खत्म. I gave him a twig. I gave him like a neem stick and twig and asked him to, I suddenly remember that. Lifestyle is a big thing. When we discuss finances, maybe we can take that a little bit. With the passing years, the kind of resources, the amount of resources that we need to just kind of get along, not do anything fancy, is also slowly, obviously, getting more complicated. Um, yeah, and then that again depends on where we live, whether it's a small town, whether it's a village setting or a city, and it's going to vary because of that. So we find a lot of people making these lifestyle choices, which again is to do with the with the choice of this. So really, the satisfaction that comes out of simplistic living, how I maintain the health and what kind of natural surroundings I stay in and what kind of work I do. Am I going to be in a call center? Am I going to be growing potatoes? Will I sell potatoes? Or will I do potatoes derivatives trading or futures trading in potatoes? All related to potatoes, but different kinds of activity. If you see, physically gives some kind of different kinds of input, but when evaluated here, and we'll come here, I kind of rub that space out because it becomes too cluttered. But when we evaluate it, it gives different kinds of satisfaction. You remember we had written these, and we had written likes. So when you actually evaluate these You remember these motives? There was likes, there was health, yeah, there's profit, and three more. So somebody who chooses a not so easy or let's say convenient lifestyle, because rural living comes with its inconveniences. For instance, if you have to heat wood, you have to go gather the wood, you have to sit in front of that boiler. The boiler is likely to get spoiled. It takes an hour to catch up. So if you don't wake up an hour early before you're going to have a bath, you can't have a bath. You have to wait for another hour. So it kind of deliberately slows things down. So from one point of view, it is very inconvenient. Hmm? But at the same time, it's very satisfactory. So what is this? So from a convenience point of view, it is actually not easier on the body. You have to wait. Not that this was very difficult, but let's say chule pe karna is very difficult. The wind is going to blow. You'll probably burn your finger once. It's easier to just switch on the geyser or just use solar cells. So this evaluation really in the other activity that we have, that I did something right, even though it was difficult, is what then gives happiness. Okay, that I'm actually doing the right thing. So that is really the satisfaction that we get from feeling that we did the right thing, even though it was not the easy thing to do. Okay, so it's really about what we like. So if we like conveniences, then we're going to say, no, I need automatic geyser, or I need 24 by 7 hot water like in a hotel. And if I like, if one of my desires, the images that I have, is to live according to nature, then the way I evaluate that experience is going to totally change. Yeah, so we'll see a little more of that. Uh, Again, MBA related to self, as you can see, because for people who are still studying, and prosperity is again related to the self. Okay. Um, yeah, yeah.
When we talk about good health, so basically it refers to the holistic health. Holistic means it covers all the dimensions of health, including physical. So emotional part that will pertain to the self part. When it is only physical body, then it is related to body.
Yeah. So if you're using the word health to indicate well-being, if you're extending, then that's emotional well-being, intellectual well-being, spiritual well-being.
Yeah.
Here, when we talk of health, it is only to do with the physical health of the body, healthy body.
If it is the holistic one, then it will refer to self as well as body.
Yeah, if you want to call it, if you want to use the word health to indicate all of them, yeah, then that would be true. Uh, so really quick analysis here. So when you say sports car, nobody wanted a sports car here, but in case you want one, the body needs protection. The sports part of the car is a need of the self. So the thrill is what I desire, like a fast car or a fast motorcycle, etc. Uh, Transport, right, is for the body, but what kind of transport? Again, food nourishes the body. Tasty food is for the self, but nourishing food is also tasty. So there's nothing wrong there. Trust is a need of the self expressed to the body. Again, happiness is a need of the self. So one of the things that we see is how much time are we, um, really investing to fulfill needs of the self. Like even the MBA, it could be for learning. I don't know how many people do the MBA to learn management, but for respect career, to be able to get a money and so on. So it's like a means to get somewhere. Okay. So if you look at some of the observations, uh, one second. So one of the things we can write is most of the desires are for the self. We just put Linux on this. I have a that's Windows 10 on a Celeron processor. Huh? I can say it. So by the time it writes, yeah, yeah. Oh, you mean that? Yeah, yeah. Okay, 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 okay. Most of the desires are for the L. Yeah. time and effort for it is a question mark. So this is actually the first one. Um, what's really written here is all the desires reside in the self. There is no desire in the body. Okay, that's the first thing that we notice, that the body doesn't have any desires. That's the first thing we have to be clear. And these desires, they either pertain to the self or the body, or things that I would like from the body. Desires are the source of feeling thrift or fulfillment, or not feeling fulfilled, which is why it makes sense to study them. And we are driven by them. In fact, the big desires, we can spend our entire lives for them. I want to change humanity. I want to be the richest man. I want to own 5 houses. Sometimes I don't know how many houses I want to own. I don't know how big a business. It just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. It never ends. So I'm not even so if I don't study them, I don't even know whether I've achieved it, because I've not even defined the boundary of that particular desire. Um, most of the desires are for the self. Now the question really is, how much time and efforts are we putting in to ensure that. Like when we started on the second day, we spoke of the material dimension, behavioral, intellectual, and spiritual. When we answered that question as to, other than material, there's relationship, right? There's behavioral and intellectual and spiritual, and we hardly have any real concrete program for the fulfillment of the behavioral. You remember that? No, doesn't matter. Yes, no, doesn't matter. I can't hear you. No? Yeah, I just rubbed out the box. Material. This is living. Yeah. And we said this is the body. We have the senses. Okay, we have the things we own, the work we do, and everything in nature. Few of us have any imagination of any desire or any program of life outside of this much. Few of us, or hardly any. We don't have any program. We're not even aware कि और कुछ हो रहा है और कुछ ठीक करना है. इधर ही खत्म हो. Maximum we start from here, go here, and then become nature friendly. इधर ही खत्म हो जाता है. Many of them we are actually trying to fulfill this spectrum by doing something here all the time. उसी का यहाँ extension दिया था. So the happiness, this happiness one that I written, okay, sensory. Okay, is really here. Okay, this behavioral is here, and experiencing something for my intellectual growth is here. Now, what I think is intellectual then becomes a degree or something like that. But उससे पूरा होता नहीं. एक तो very few people join degrees for the love of the subject. Maybe 1 in 1,000. उसमें से भी you'll get one टुकड़ा of life. Like you'll get physics, and उसमें you study medicine. So basically body पढ़ेंगे, उसमें भी हड्डी पढ़ेगा, orthopedics पढ़ेगा, उसमें भी fracture ठीक करेगा. So like one small part is left. Super specialization. You don't get the larger picture. ये समझ में आता है ना? This is what. So most of the desires are in the self, and I lost my stick and found it confusing the desires of the self and the body. Yeah, sometimes there is something I want in the self, and I'm trying to get it done by doing something in the body. And of course, We said we'll scope it. Um, Again, some of the desires are unclear. We don't know when we'll achieve them and how we'll do them and what their limitation is. So it makes good sense to take it up and really examine it and spend some time thinking, how am I going to achieve? Is it even possible? Okay, and when will I do it? If it's a small thing, it can be done immediately. Mm. We're also seeing that desires are a means to achieving the basic needs. So I have to find out what I really want, which is what I've written there in number 5. What is it that I really want? All of these are somewhere related to what I really want. It is some state of happiness, some state of peace, some state of contentment that I'm looking forward to. Some desires are simply not possible because they have an external dependency which is very high. Like if I say I want to enlighten everybody, it's just people, but let us say here that I want to enlighten everybody. Do you think it's possible? ये आदमी सुखी होगा कि दुखी होगा? Somebody who tries to enlighten everybody. It's not possible because nobody wants to be enlightened. Like in the next 8 days or 7 days, if I came here thinking that all of you will take to this whole project wholeheartedly and I will see you 10 years from now and you will do your study and start conducting workshops, you think that's a valid desire or an invalid desire? Invalid. Because it's not going to happen. I probably won't see any of you ever again. I have to sit here assuming that, but with the hope, right? With the hope, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. But it's not specific. Okay? So I like to call this the azan. मॉर्निंग अजान है, ये 10 दिन का अजान है. जिसको सुनना है सुनेगा. अजान देना हमारा फर्ज है. फर्ज इज एन उर्दू वर्ड, द हिंदी वर्ड इज कर्तव्य. आई डू दिस आउट ऑफ कर्तव्य, है ना? ठीक है, समझ में आता है. सो दैट्स कॉल्ड इट इज एन एग्जाम्पल, अ स्मॉल एग्जाम्पल. आई एम नॉट सेइंग ऑल माय डिजायर्स आर लाइक दैट. We'll see that it's called a asakti rahit ichha. It's a desire without affliction. Asakti means, bondage or affliction. Sometimes our desires, many of our desires, not just sometimes, have affliction, which means that we desire something which is not within our control. Okay, that's just one example. So that's fine. We won't get too much into it. So, some desires have suspected junk. The other interesting thing is desires are not unlimited. They exist for a very long time, but they're not they're limited. A lot of people said they're already ho gaya isme. So we usually tend to think, or we think that everybody is different and you can never fulfill people's desires, इसलिए get rid of desires. ऐसा है नहीं. Most of the people desire the same set of things. There are a few things here and there. Somebody wants to do swimming. Somebody's already learned swimming. Somebody doesn't care for swimming. And those, if you see, are all to do with the sensory part. So, sabka jo sensory wala hai is different. Like, I want to learn cooking, but I want to learn Japanese cooking. I don't want to learn cooking. 2 people want to learn. So, the variety you will see is really in the red section there, in the sensory one. Okay. And so, similar, some can be purchased with money. Alright. And if you really look at this, so what I've written here is short term, medium term, long term, and lifetime desires. So in this workshop, what we're really looking at is our lifetime desires. We're not looking at long term, medium term, and short term. We're trying to see how these are subsumed by the lifetime desires, which is really comprehensive happiness and resolution and so on. And if you look at the set of desires, I've just typed down what I had written there. I'll translate it into English. The computer is too slow. But really, 3 kinds of experiences to acquire sensory gratification via the 4, it's called the Vishaya. So fear, food, sleep, and coitus. Remember, satiation, pleasure, or thrill, like bungee jumping and coming down a giant wheel. जो पेट में गुदगुली होता है, your stomach churns and then you get a thrill out of it. That the 5 senses, so sensory gratification. Okay, and in fact, I think most of us have had enough. In fact, even if you ask him, he's not going to. You think his answer will be any different from what we've written? The man that walks it, nothing. His means to that sensory gratification will be different. Maybe he wants to travel. I don't think he even wants to go to Bangalore. I don't think anybody will want to go to Bangalore. As you can't even say that. uh, uh, some of the this in the sensory, one type is utpadan, out of production. What I had written there. So doing something with my hands, and the third is using utilities and things. So the satisfaction you get from using a new phone, a new laptop, a new set of shoes, new wind cheater, a new jacket, new glasses. I got these new glasses like a week ago, and it felt nice for the first day. Now I've forgotten about it. I had progressive. After I crossed 45, I got progressive. I got a progressive number. So I had to keep removing my glasses every time I thought I had to do this and do this. And I did this for like 10 days and I had it. So I had to get a progressive lens. It's a nice lens by Kodak. Expensive. So first I had a cheaper one. Then I went for this and I got this and now I've forgotten about it. Because I can just see. And itna hi hoga na. कुछ भी lens pen लिया, I'll just be able to see a little clearly, right? And yeah, it took about 20 minutes to choose a frame. I went for a square frame and this and that, and then I said, what the hell? My whole life I've used square frames. I'll take a round frame this time. So I took a round frame. So now I went home and my father said, I'm looking like Gandhiji, and that was the end of it. Yeah, then I saw her. Yeah. Just take the mic also clearer.
As you said, for this glasses, I think people also take relationship for granted. First, when they don't have, they want it.
Yeah.
When they have it, they want to have a better thing. Once they have a better thing, they take it for granted and then you forget about it. So, if I want to talk about that awakening thing you said, that we are all in different position of awakening. So if that is a thing, if two people are in different positions of the awakening in a relationship, it could be any relationship.
Yeah.
So how is it possible that two people are like, then it is not a balance, right?
Yeah, it's not a balance. So the only way it'll work or really is to really and that'll take time. It can't happen immediately. We'll have to understand the stages in awakening or development in a human being. So awakening is a big term, but really transformation. Number one. The second is the different tendencies and the different capabilities. So if you want to draw like a triangle, it will come in these three. So you have to understand the stage of development. What does that mean? There are some of us for whom physical satiation means a lot and it forms a very big part of our life, of who we are as people. There are some of us for whom sensory gratification forms a very large part of who we are and what we want. Not the only part. See, we are not goats. Okay, goats are only here. Animals only here. Animals don't have the rest. Yeah, बकरी चाय नहीं पीता है, कॉफी नहीं पीता है, शक्कर नहीं डालता, शक्कर नहीं निकालता. Doesn't say I got bored of this grass, give me that grass tomorrow. See, these cows are very non-demanding. कुछ भी दे तो खाता है, रोज. As long as it is cow food, it will have it. So, for some of us, it could be here. Now, over a period of time, of course, what happens is all this accumulates in a person. So you can have this. For some people, this is more important. This experience is more important than this. So this is of higher value than this. For some people, this is of higher value than these two. For some people, the ability to analyze is bigger than the ability to experience. For some people, the ability to project and think of the larger picture is higher. So this is what I mean by stage of development in very brief. Okay, so that's one. So one is we have to understand and appreciate it. And I'll get to that in a bit. Okay. The second is the specific tendencies they have. Okay. When you see stages of development, this is really of consciousness. And this will come in handy when we talk of relationships. This is why you cannot really put human relationships in a grid, in an Excel sheet and say, I'm like this and both of us like this and both of us want to become whatever, spiritually awakened and then everything will be happy or nothing. You'll fight over what is spirituality and why did you say this about spirituality. नहीं होगा. नहीं होता है. I mean, there could be some things that we commonly don't like or don't agree with and something that we common, uske andar there will be a difference of opinion. So, the second thing is really tendencies. Okay. These tendencies, like again, could be to do with this. And the third is different capabilities. It could be capability to express, to do manual work, to manage. Tendencies are things that you picked up from childhood, like cleanliness. Sometimes tendencies could be to do with things like honesty, and so on. The list can get longer. You can have somebody who, or acting sometimes, not being, not owning up. All right. So between two people, even if you match the purpose of life, the values in life, and the lifestyle, even if this is common, the other three can be different. अभी तो हम इतना भी नहीं देखते ना. Typically हम मतलब humans, when we are looking at each other, we are not looking at these three. We are looking at other things. The first thing we are looking at is religion, caste, and both of us like, I don't know what kind of music, height, education, and paisa, looks. नहीं, certificate ठीक है. For now, let's assume the certificate may have some value, especially if it's from the south. अभी बिहार का certificate तो पता नहीं है ना. There was a picture in the papers of an exam in Bihar. You remember that? There was like a trail of people hanging from the window. I mean, it's like a chain of people handing over chits. In front of every window, there were people standing at the parapet. बाहर से कोई फोटो निकाला था. Mass scale. Bihar is a phenomenon. Huh? Yeah. So when we kind of explore further what we are as people and who we are, and really what makes us who we are, I think the more we are able to appreciate that and accept it, the more we are able to live with another person. Because it's really not possible to find an exact match. And the reason for that is, I myself am unable to match who I exactly want to be. It takes time. I mean, let's say I have a tendency to make fun of people, right? There's one stage in which I'm not aware of it. There's another stage in which I become aware of it, but I'm not aware of it when I'm doing it. There is a third stage when I become aware of it. I stop doing it mostly, but I still continue to do it in one or two tickets because it's a very, very old habit. Now this is going to take, this can be anywhere from 1 year to 11 years. One tendency in me to change. So when I cannot change myself to match who I think I exactly need to be, I have to give the same, liberty to the other person as well, that they have to go through their own process of change. So that understanding, I think, that acceptance that that person is going through it, I think really helps us do what we call as let live and live. It is called Dayapun Vyavhar. It has a name, but really letting live and live is a very big, and we'll see that when we take up letting live and living. अभी उल्टा है. I live according to what I think should be, and then I'll let you live if everything is fine for me. मेरा है तो then I'll let you live. So letting people be is a very hard thing, especially within very close relationships. Yes, see, all of us are good because we don't. You have any problem with me so far? No, I too don't have any problem with you so far. Why? Because we don't do anything together. हम मिलके किचन में खाना बनाएंगे ना for 10 days. The 12th day you think this fellow is so irritating. Every time I go to chop the onion, he says either aisa mat kato, aisa kato. So now what is happening is I'm trying to dictate your work and how you should be doing, which is like your capability or your way of doing it. Capability or way, yeah, or tendency or way. So if you really look at this stage of development, it is to do with the intellectual spiritual side. Intellectual spiritual behavioral. Capabilities are typically to do with materials and management. Expression. कोई ज्यादा बोलता है, कोई कम बोलता है, कोई ऐसा बोलता है. These are all abilities. They don't necessarily reflect this. Which is why sometimes people who give very good discourses on subjects like this, what is life and spirituality and all that, are on depression pills. They'll go and kill themselves. There was this but he was an actor, this famous actor, American actor, committed suicide recently. Joke, huh? नहीं वो हिंदी पिक्चर देखता नहीं यार. Robin Williams. He played a very light character and he was full of depression, died. So it's something like play acting. So when you have an audience, when you have a mic, you're talking about Sukh, Shanti, Santosh, Anand and all that. And when you're by yourself, so damn, you're very, very, very depressed and you don't know what to do with life. You're lost. So this letting live and live is a very important thing. And it's not easy. Okay. But as we understand who we are, as humans, and number two, what makes us different, in this sphere, and why we are different when we look at the activities in the self. And then we make up our minds to practice this fourth one, live accordingly. Correct? Ye wala jo hai. Living and implementing it. Here, then we come to this thing saying, how do I live with somebody who's also kind of progressing? Because it's easy to live with somebody who's very perfect. The thing is, you don't find anybody who's completely perfect. I mean, there are one or two people, hopefully some of us will get there, but as of now, there are not many. So there are people with lower defects, and there are people who don't have basic defects. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So relationship is coming in the context of self, wherein it is abstract and it is everlasting. So is there a threshold wherein relationship can go apart, or relationship has to be there for sustenance for a?
It has to be there. Yeah, see, if it becomes unbearable, then what you do, it's beyond your. It's like I can't, hold it in anymore. When you have to go, you have to go. When you reach that point, then you have to let go. What do you do? There are no real fulfilling answers in half-baked states. That's another problem for us humans. You can't be half-baked and expect a full answer, as in a full state. Then it just means that my ability itself is stunted, okay, and hence my reward is going to be in proportion to that. For that period of time, it could be like a few years. What do I do in the long term? I'll have to do all this. I have to come back to the drawing board. Like in this, what we're talking, like this input that I said, this thing input. Now you're getting what? अभी ये वर्कशॉप का कितना है, maybe we won't be able to cover it. We have about 400 slides, approx 400 or 500. I didn't count, but like this is like 48 slides for this topic. We're on 43, maybe 400, maybe little more. The total content that one will need to really try and solve is 3,600 pages. That's the published content. 3,600 pages. उसको लेके, उसको ये करके assimilate करके, you have to go through that. Okay, and I'll show that when we do to I kind of depicted it just in a slide again, not really depicted it, but put it out. So one has to go through that. Yeah, but at least now we know how to go about it. Otherwise, we even can't do that. But while in the process of doing it, if something becomes unbearable, then what will you do? So the thing is that sometimes it's the outcome of breaking something is far longer lasting and more painful than being in it and bearing it. That's something we lose sight of. उस समय के राहत के लिए, right? I walk away or break something. I break the glass. But the shards of broken glass can last longer and be more painful than the satisfaction you got out of breaking, in for that duration of time. So if we keep that in mind, then I think that maybe we won't end up getting into long-term lasting damages, especially in close relations. Then you're saying, okay, मैं सह लूंगा, or what we call, you'll see when we look at nature, that everything is at a definite, we call it अच्छी निश्चित दूरी. जैसे आप और मैं है ना, we are at a good distance. अभी मैं बात करते करते I'm like millimeters away from you. It's going to make you feel very odd and uncomfortable. Now this is an अच्छी निश्चित दूरी to talk to someone, correct? Physically, even in the answers that I'm giving, like I can't attack you personally. That's not on. I can't say, I think you have a foolish question. I can't say, I think you're stuck with life and you need to find some relief somewhere. Now that's a personal, incision I'm making. ये दूरी क्या हो गया? Emotional दूरी अंदर आ गया. That's not permitted. So sometimes when we are at a particular distance from somebody, or physical or emotional, it may just, you बोलते हैं ना, get some space. तो actually वही space है. You go live opposite. Do something like that. These things work, especially when the other party is clueless about how to go about things and is not even interested or even remotely interested. Like in my family, besides me, we have my brother, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law. She has a brother, a sister-in-law. I have my parents, her parents. In the past 13 years, nobody has spent a single minute asking me what this is. Not 1 minute. They're supportive. They ask me how it went. If I call my mother today, you know what she's going to ask me? What did you eat? उसको कोई interest नहीं है इसमें. Now, if I expect my mother to respond, it's not going to happen. She's not remotely interested in it. Correct? So now my ability, let's say, to deal with some inadequacy in her, which could be one of three cases, right? There is a development inadequacy, and we'll see day after tomorrow that people's development is not their fault. It's like blaming that coconut tree for being short, but it was planted only 4 years ago. So 12 साल हो गया, वो तो बड़ा हो गया. Okay. Or blaming it because it's not giving fruit. But you know what? It got infested. Too bad. It was helpless. So one is, you have to understand somebody's stage of development. Now there are certain tendencies, and if that person is not aware of their own tendencies, what do? Even though it's immensely frustrating and you can't do anything. So the only other thing you can do if it becomes unbearable is to make a distance. Not confront. Not confront, and that's very hard because at that time that seems to be the most joyous thing to do. Usko bol do. I mean, your anand, your supreme bliss will exist in telling that person that they are wrong, that they are foolish, कि तुमको ऐसा करना नहीं था, you have no sense, you don't know how to do. But you see, that's actually not a solution. That's actually my reaction. It's like getting, you know, what is it called in English? It's called the sweetness of revenge, but it's actually not sweet. At that instant, it's actually desperation, because in the long term, it actually causes a problem. And also somebody's capabilities. When you're not able to do things, people forget. They may not remember things as well as you and I do. They may not remember the same things that we remember. So this is called Jine ki Kala, art of living with people, which is our third subject in the relationship thing. And that's why it's at number 3, because if I don't understand myself, how I am and how I'm supposed to be, and how and why I'm malfunctioning, I don't understand why the other person is and how and why they are malfunctioning. How do I even fulfill something with them? I'm imperfect in a different way. They are imperfect in a different way. And hence we have to go via existence to understand how we became like this. You understand? I mean, we have to see why we became like this. When we talk of existence, we'll talk of what exists and how things evolved and how we all came to be. We talk about it, and you have to listen to it, scrutinize it, and do all that and see whether you find it suitable. Yeah, so it's a big answer to a small problem, but that's the way human life is. There are no small. Baki is like count to 100 when you get angry, go eat ice cream, try to sing a song, write her a poem. वो सब चलेगा. But
I've been thinking, I think since yesterday, maybe day before, that whenever these temporary, relief, whether it is talking to someone or traveling, journaling, calling, meeting family, these are the temporary relief. But that is what is prescribed when you are in trouble, like maybe from professionals, from so
yeah,
so that's what we have been seeing, following. It's recommended. It's across. It's
and it
all.
helps. It helps. See, for that time duration, I mean, if somebody has a problem and you say you come and sit for 10 days, I'll show you 500 slides, उसके बाद हम बात करेंगे. It's not happening. So they won't come. If they come, they'll doze off. They may not listen for 10 days. So you need these temporary things. But the so-called professional, the professional doesn't know his own desire. He doesn't know which domain he's living in. कुछ नहीं पता है. They have certain theories and I think techniques of what works based on what they've been. So pattern analysis है उनके पास, and sometimes that's useful. They know that when so and so pattern arises, if you do so and so things, you may get so and so result. They don't have long-term existential answers. There's something called non-violent communication. Have you heard of it? You have heard of it. So somebody told me about it, and in fact, I was telling our morning, our discussion group. It's called a Manan Goshti. So Manan actually means meditation group. This is meditation. What we're doing now. Meditating means to hold an object of understanding in your mind for a prolonged duration of time, to concentrate on it, to try and understand it. The starting point of meditation is seeing your nose and the air coming in and out. But that's all you'll be able to see, only the air. उसका ऊपर का देखने का, तो then you have to pay attention to other things. Okay? So in this meditation, you don't have to close your eyes because you'll still only see emptiness. You'll only see darkness. पहला आदमी दिखता था, अभी वो भी नहीं दिखता है ना? So in this meditation, you have to pay attention to the realities that are out there, that are getting pointed at us via the means of words. Okay, through somebody who's trying to facilitate that process. So, non-violent communication. What's the name? Oh, I just blanked out. I just had his name. Okay. This man, University of California, Berkeley professor, comes up with this. So it's a technique of talking to people, and it helps not being confrontational. So I was interested in it as a kind of a science of behavior. What we are talking of here is the knowledge of behavior. This is not the craft of living. We'll come to the craft later, but उसके लिए पहले foundation चाहिए. He divorced his wife. The guy who came up with nonviolent communication that has helped a lot of people avoid conflict ended up divorcing his wife of 22 years. I'm sure he did it in a non-violent way, okay, but he couldn't stay together. Yeah, so the professional thing is fine for the time being, and also when people are going through a bad patch at that time, maybe what they need is some comfort and some kind of soothing. So really, if you see what professionals are able to provide is, or when you say I need a shoulder to cry on or a shoulder to talk on, is this behavioral, kind of presence experientially. You can't throw theory at them at that time. He's already so muddled and so troubled, and nothing will go in. In order to be able to, do you think we will understand these things when we are agitated or when we are calm? You have to be calm. If you're agitated, nothing will go in. If you say that in 8 days we'll take a test on how much you've understood, you'll be very agitated. Otherwise, we won't let you go home. Put pressure, nahi hoga. So when we are agitated, then these things work. But otherwise, from a long term point of view, one will have to go through all this. नहीं यूजफुल है, मैंने बताया ना. Yeah, bilkul. So that's what I said. It seems to be like an art or a technique. Yeah. No, it will help us understand. I think what we'll have to still, we've asked, somebody has volunteered to walk us through that. Somebody, we have to do that. But I think they can help us in the interim and especially in the field of, how do you express yourself with people? How do you say things that are not hurtful, even though you think that way? Okay. I mean, so if you like by tomorrow, by end of tomorrow, we will get a lot of insight into how our minds function, and you can't go out there and tell somebody, I think you're developmentally stunted. Okay, yeah, out of the 4.5 activities, I think only 0.85 is working in you. You're stupid. You you'll get that data. You'll get that ability to do that. If not tomorrow, if you persist with this, you'll do it. Like for me, it's been 13 years, and when I meet people and interact with them, sometimes what happens is I can actually see where they are, because of because I've gotten so used to seeing it from that point of view that this is where this person is. Now that cannot and should not prevent me from interacting with them nicely or properly if they're just passing by. Now, if you're living with somebody like that, they're part of your immediate family, all right, you still cannot do that because now your knowledge of development has actually become a weaponization ability. Now you can weaponize it. So your tendency to want to live together has to be worked on. So we call that swabhav. We'll talk of it. Okay. So this is Sai took that small.
भैया ये जो स्लाइड है ये स्लाइड में थोड़ा मेन हेडिंग और सब हेडिंग में थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन आ रहा है, which actually is the main heading which comes as the sub heading, because the bulleted marks are somehow in a curve
ना
में, हाँ यही स्लाइड में, whether
इसमें
whether all the bulleted points are identical or in हाँ हाँ
अच्छा तो वो मैं बताया ना चाइनीज सॉफ्टवेयर है, देख सकते हैं।
जैसे 3 काइंड्स ऑफ हैप्पीनेस, तो वो तो रुचि मूलक, मूल्य मूलक और लक्ष्य मूलक, ये तीनों समझ में आ रहा है। बाकी जितने सारे बुलेटेड है ना वो सब मिक्सअप हो
एक
गया है।
मिनट नहीं वो हो जाएंगे, वो अभी मैं बता दूं। वो बुलेटिन तो अच्छा है, आपने भी इंजीनियरिंग किया है ना, इसीलिए वो साइन के कारण हमको एक में एप्सिलॉन है, एक में साई है ना। Yes, that's a barrier to learning. And those who study literature will not have any problem with it. Okay. Okay. Good. It will also give us a breather. One of the shortcomings of a PowerPoint in doing this is there's very less gap between the sentence and the delivery, between one slide and the next slide. When we have to write, and typically we write it for 7 days, so it's a lot of writing. 3 boards will be filled and rubbed like 3 times over. But imagine if I have to write all this, how much time it would take. But the advantage is the audience gets time to think and digest what has been said previously, and you get those gaps in the middle. So, okay. So we have to really ascertain in the desires that we have. You see that some desires are to do with what is called as aswadan or experiences of happiness, which can be either sensory in nature or to do with the experience of good people, right? Like we came here and we're liking it. My wife is liking it. I'm liking it. My daughter likes it. You know, and don't you all like it? You liking the company of each other? You're seeing people around, although we're not having really deep conversations. So that's what this is. So the desire to come back. So when you go back home and you say, okay, there's going to be another workshop in Dharwad, maybe what you come back for is this more than, all this. You understand? That can be one reason to come back for the workshop experience. The other part of the workshop experience could be this. That, okay, there were only 5 people and I didn't like 3 of them, but, the subject was more interesting. And sometimes we come back for this. That the natural environment was very good. It was clean air, clean water. It was a relief to get out of the city. And they said something and I think some of it is going to be useful. It can be a combination of these, and these put together forms our desire. So one target of the desire could be the experience of happiness of these 3 types, 1, 2, 3. एक का subtype है विषय सुख, that is 4 विषय, these 4, and the 5 senses. I'll write senses there. The second is again what to do, and there are some desires on I need to do this, I need to do that, ये करना है, वो करना है, ये सोचना है, वो सोचना है, which typically kicks in when you wake up in the morning. I wake up in the morning and you know what really happens? There is like this to go through the day. Yeah, you have to get up, you have to brush, you have to do this, get ready, go to school, send this, cook, finish this, finish that. These are the things to do. These are the plans that we have in mind. And when we execute those plans, each plan in turn will lead to some kind of experience incrementally. So typically we spend our day doing the daily routine. So the daily desire is like really what I repeat every day, top to bottom, okay? And the deeper one is what I want to become or what it is to do with my being. So this is a desire that is to do with my what is called as the chitta or psyche. Okay, so this was really the summary of what we spoke of before the break. Some of the desires are contradictory in nature. If one is true, the other cannot be true. That is something we already covered.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
Just to revise these last 2 points, thoughts / disposition will give us peace from that board, and psyche or to become or being will give me content.
Is to do with contentment. Those are usually the, uh, so if you want to do this, is really the long term or permanent. Like see for me in 2007, actually five, maybe six, yeah, 6 August 2006, it became completely clear to me that I just want to get to the bottom of this body of knowledge and nothing else matters more to me in my life. So all other planning became around being able to, do that, right? So how much I'll work, how much money I'll earn, marriage, everything was organized around it. So everything was subsumed by that permanent desire. So it led to a lot of action and planning, right? So there's a lot of um, action and planning. Okay. So and that permanent desire is, if you break it down, उसमें बहुत सारा है, right? There is, so I want to study the entire thing, so I ended up studying it once. Then I realized I have to study it twice. Now I have read the books 8 times. I have gone through 3,600 pages 8 times. Okay. Now I'm going through the remainder of the 3,000 unpublished works, and I think I'll do that 2 times. I've listened to the 600 hours of audio 2 times. I've spent more than 1,000 hours in intense conversation with the person who knew all this very well. So that permanent desire is yet to be fulfilled. नहीं हुआ, it's a long term desire. हाँ, सी आ जाएगा, ये पता है ना, the computers also. Okay. So, but does that mean कि बीच में ये सब नहीं हुआ? सब हुआ है ना, sleep भी हुआ, बाकी सब भी हुआ. There's a lot of food, how many cups of coffee? 2 cups a day into 365 into 15 years, लगा लो. Into 200 ml of milk. That's our cup size, 210 ml. Has so many liters of milk. So consumption के रूप में देखेंगे तो बहुत सारा हुआ है, right? What are things have produced? Maybe 2 kilos of brinjal, bhindi, and about 20 kilos of oil. That's all I produced in all these years. I spent the rest of the time with the books. Utilities, yeah. We had a car, we have a car now, we bought a second-hand car, used gadgets, maybe the third laptop. So all this comes and goes. The things that I've done, planning, 1.5 lakh kilometers in Indian Railways. कितना ticket? मैं गिनती छोड़ दिया. So in terms of things to do, there have been so many things. I was just hoping I won't have to travel till April. कल message आया कि अभी Jan 20th I have to go to Rajkot. 16. Like I have to go. I cannot not go. I have to go there for 2 days. Okay. Some big shot is coming. So the really really long term, ये वाला जो this क्या होगा if this becomes our root desire, ये जो number 5 में लिखा है ना, 5, right? What do I really want? This is where we started our conversation. If this gets fixed, then what happens is everything else major gets aligned under it to be able to fulfill it. And whatever else is by the side will anyways keep happening, because these are anyways things you've been used to. You'll eat chawal, he'll eat dahi chawal, I'll eat rice. ये सब चलता रहेगा. One day maybe you'll get tired of reading, you'll go for a drive. This is transient, it'll come and go, and it's a good break. Okay. So the permanent desire to get comprehensive happiness in 4 aspects equal to get 3 gyan. We started here. Second day, है ना? First show, याद है? हर दिन का 4 शो चल रहा है. Show 1, show 2, show 3, show 4. Okay. Second day, first show. Plan, study, and understand. Subject. So you apply yourself to study. Okay. Then you come to method of study, practice of study, and go through the stages of study, comma, practice. So this is what I'm doing. So when I put down my desires, like when you all did, I too sat down and thought of what I want to do. I said, what did I say? I want to go closer to the darshan environment. So that's the environment that I like. Like he wants clean air, and somebody wanted clean water, and maybe somebody wants a giraffe, whatever it is. I would like to be surrounded by the people who discuss this and try to implement this and think of it. That's what I would like. That's the external environment that I feel is suitable. So that's what I said is my desire. Get rid of unwanted tendencies in me that I've been able to identify that I know is here and here and here and here and here. And if you look at the unwanted tendencies in us, the usually their behavioral in nature, there are 52 wanted, and 52 का उल्टा करेंगे तो so basically 52. So 52 right ways of doing things and 52 wrong ways of doing the same thing. So those 52 are unwanted. तो उसमें से सबका spectrum अलग होगा. You'll have 4, you'll have 6, you'll have 8. Okay. Then I wanted to improve my ability to concentrate and hold the information. So these are my desires. As part of the practice, sharing is part of my practice. So I come, whatever I'm doing this as part. I said that on first day. Remember? I said I'm come here to share this because it is part of my practice. So for me, the desire that I am running with right now is really trying to implement the practice so my study is successful. So the plan of studying and understanding will be successful. So I can get closer to the Trin Gyan. So the comprehensive happiness can be achieved. समझ में आता है? ऐसा. And what are the stages? The stages of study mein, I'd put it here. Yeah, in that case. Yeah, that's what we're here to find out. Is it really possible to find out that I can want forever and ever, that all humans want forever and ever? Yeah, and we can take our own time. क्या जल्दी है? No hurry. Take another year, 2 years, 10 years. And if this is right, and if you don't do it this time, then you're coming back to do it again. Getting up, but it happens. When I was at work, I would get up at 8:30. I would reach office at 11. When I was working, after having come in touch with this, I wake up at 4:30 now, and I'm trying to see if I can get up at 4 before the rest of the world wakes up with all its noise and clutter. Just to focus and just be with what I'd like to understand. Yeah.
भैया
Okay, so there are stages of progress. I will, Hanji. Uh, it takes time, but basically it's really uh, being able to understand what is more important. So the priority decides that. There are 4 practices. I was going to talk about it tomorrow. Didi's been, आपको कितना साल हो गया दीदी इसके संपर्क में आए? 6 years. How many introductory sessions have you attended? 5 or 6, and also some study sessions. Yeah, each of us goes to our own pathway. Somebody attends 1, some attend 2, some attend 10, 12. Yeah, there are 4 practices. So one is called Shastra Abhyas, okay, which is literature study. I read it in English. The second is called Vyavhar Abhyas, which is behavioral practice. The last part of which is called non-violent communication. Even if you don't like the person, don't say it. That's non-violent communication. Or say it in such a way that is non-violent. The last leg is, nice. How do you say things in a way that doesn't upset? But this goes deeper, right? This is basically saying that is to manage the status quo. But how can I be imbibed with love and affection, which is unconditional? How can I be imbibed with trust and respect? It is unconditional. That will come from some knowledge. It can't come from some practice. नहीं होता है ना? So that is व्यवहार अभ्यास या behavioral practice. Okay. The third is called karma abhyas. So what these people are doing, farming, etc., is more suitable for it. They are production practice. It forms part of the day. This is how I have really, split my day. And the last one is called participatory practice with society. And I'm going to put a star because it's not compulsory. Like what I'm doing right now with you is this practice. When I do it at home, I do it by myself because I just use the text. I mean, I am compiling, like he said, like I wrote a book. That was part of my practice of contributing. And I started it, and the thing is, I got carried away with it. And it became so large that I had to make it 2 pieces. मतलब लिखते लिखते मजा आने लग गया, है ना? And in fact, I solved a few things for myself, like clarified a few things while writing it. And yeah, I took it off the website. So there's a second part. So I think there is one part that's not split. I should be able to. So I'll put it back on the website because if I have to put it to the publisher, I have to. I can't, keep distributing the PDF and go and ask somebody to publish it. One of the companies called Thomson Publishing showed some interest, and they agreed to everything. We agreed to buy back 3,500 copies from them. So, I mean, गरीबी में what will you do? If you want somebody to publish the book, बोला मैं ही 3,000 कॉपी खरीदता हूँ, please publish it. Right? So we also got the funds for it. Somebody agreed to fund it. Unfortunately, it went to their internal review team, and some scholars sitting in some university rejected it. Because nobody writes about all this in a book of ethics. No, who's going to talk of self and need? ये सब reject हो गया. So participatory practice. But participation can be done in many ways. Like for example, Santosh Bhaiya comes and is doing, this is what he is doing, even if he doesn't have a label for it. Because when we do that for people who we don't know, it helps us improve our, इसके लिए तो हिंदी term is bhava. It's better than feelings. हमारा भाव improve होता है, which is called as unconditionality, without expectation of any monetary gain. Now, while we are doing this, what can you do? You have to earn or manage money, okay, experience senses, and really behavioral practice also means, basically what it means is family life. Family life. I'll move this. ये थोड़ा सा premature हो गया. I mean, I was going to bring it up later, but since we are on the subject, I'll put it here. We are having a lot of premature babies in this workshop. टाइम से पहले आ जा रहा है, but okay. My daughter was, I think, 7. No, she was full term. My brother's son was almost like 1.5 months premature. So when my brother called him and he said, "Bachcha ho gaya," I said, "How come?" वो तो और 1.5 महीना था. He said, "नहीं हो गया." We went to get it checked and the doctor said, they went for a regular checkup and the doctor said, "I can see the baby's head." बोला लेट जाओ, वहीं निकल गया. So I named him Veerabhadra. Veerabhadra. Veera means, brave. Bhadra is the name of a river here. Bhadra and Tunga, two rivers put together are called Tungabhadra. I said he's very brave, he's come out before time. So I still call him Bhadra. His name is Vedant and he loves eating. So these are the 4 practices that we can do. So if you really break this down, it's not that complicated, right? This is our student life. So what this basically means is we go back to being students. We have to go back to being a Vidyarthi of what? Of life, of Vidya. Vidya means knowledge. That's why it's called Jivan Vidya. So the Jivan Vidya Shivir workshop is named after that. Okay? So there is a student life or Vidyarthi life. It doesn't end with college. College के बाद जो विद्यार्थी life खत्म होता है, you are eligible to earn or to get married, depending on the situation. Sometimes nobody will marry. Even if you have money, they won't marry if you don't have a degree. So I know people who went and got a degree, नहीं तो शादी नहीं होती, पैसा तो है. So they get a farji degree from somewhere. Farji means basically you pay 5,000-8,000 rupees, in 3 years will give you the degree. A lot of places in Chhattisgarh. There's one university called C.V. Raman University. You'll get a BTech for 22,000 rupees. C.V. Raman. That's a Nobel Prize. 55,000 में PhD भाई, मतलब इतनी गरीबी है यार. 2-4 लाख 5 लाख को तो रखा, 55,000 में यार PhD. Come on यार. That was the rate a few years ago. So Vyavhar Abhyas is actually, this is called family life. The real Vyavhar actually happens with the family. So this is family life. So what really happens is, ये जो input है from student life, it has to percolate into family life. This is called work life. Okay? But again, work that is conducive for this is not the work that we currently do. Okay? And this is social life. So while we're doing this, so these are the 4 practices that are commensurate with our 4 stages. So to answer your query, we have to do it your whole life? Yeah, the answer is yes. Just like we are only, so which lives are we leading now? Out of these 4? Common man किसमें रहता है? 2 and 3. Yeah, 3 and 2. Irrespective of whether you are working in Microsoft or in मनरेगा से लेकर माइक्रोसॉफ्ट के चेयरमैन तक, व्हाट लाइफ आर दे लिविंग? 3 and 2. Majority of the world is in 3 and 2. They were and they take care of their family. जो 300 रुपए कमाता है उतने में फैमिली को चलाता है, जो 3 लाख कमाता है एक दिन में उतने में फैमिली को चलाता है, बाकी को इकट्ठा करके रख, मजा मारता. बेसिकली the ability of comfort changes. But that's human life. That's it. Vidyarthi Jivan is finished. Who the hell wants to know? You know why? Because none of the learning, none of the teaching was really useful to us. Which is why you forget it. You want it to be gone. I studied Schottky diode, transistors, radio communication, radar system design, transformer design. मैं आज तक लकड़ी से भी नहीं छुआ ट्रांसफॉर्मर को. क्या करूं, है ना? So the foundational of education, if it's based on what children really want, because we don't know what humans want, we don't know who humans are. I told you on the first day, we don't know who we are educating. Self, body, parietal lobe, brain, occipital lobe, hippocampus, किसको पढ़ा रहे? Medulla oblongata. We don't know. We don't know the entity. So the basic question itself. So while we do this, what do? Earning and managing money, I'm keeping it separately because that's a separate project. It may or may not be related to your production practice, because your production may not give you enough money in today's world, because also you are also studying and working at the same time. Like, I would like to get up and do yoga. I would also like to get up and grow vegetables. But मेरा सवेरे का 3 घंटा goes off in the first one. My morning 3 hours are given for the first one. Anyways, so this is in short experiences, the senses slash body. ये चलता रहेगा. ये तो वैसे भी चल ही रहा है ना? So when we get this, and if you become financially free, then you can take out time to do the remainder at your own, will. ये तो usually दुनिया जो है is in that. It's trying to become financially free, and it never gets there because it is difficult. See, uncertainty can be managed. There's always uncertainty. Wherever you keep your money, it's uncertain.
Expectations are not defined.
Yeah. Actually, there's no clarity. ये जो पहले वाला है ना, there's less clarity. We don't even know that we have to work towards this. See, ये जो था, this part, right? So this 4 practices, I'll just put it here. This is not fixed. What is a long-term goal is not fixed. It's fluctuating. So till it's fluctuating or unclear, what happens is things keep coming and going. So we keep doing random things. On Sunday, there is a talk on Vedanta, we'll go there. Saturday को meditation पे talk उधर चले जाते हैं. YouTube पे there'll be something on string theory, उसको भी सुन लेंगे, इसको भी सुन लेंगे. Just like इधर उधर. A little bit of world of education, ये education, वो ये comprehensive नहीं है. Yeah. Knowledge of myself, knowledge of existence, knowledge of human relationships. अस्तित्व जीवन ज्ञान, दिस इज कॉल्ड जीवन ज्ञान, अस्तित्व दर्शन ज्ञान, मानवता पूर्ण आचरण ज्ञान. ठीक है? Nice. So good. So we're done. Maybe 2 sessions late, but yeah. We'll come back tomorrow. I'll just tell you what we're going to do tomorrow. Before we go, sorry, just bear with me. This was totally unexpected, but I was anyways going to share it with you, and I thought, why keep secrets, right? But this is easy. This 1, 2, 3, 4. It took me many years to work this out in the darshan, but it's easy to see it this way. Again, everybody's notions of being financially free is very different. Some people will just not bother and go ahead. So we won't get into that detailed discussion. So just to very quickly summarize, what did we find out from the entire day today? The needs of the mental aspect, which is called as the self, and the body, which is a material aspect, are very different, which is what we did day before yesterday, which is affection, respect, happiness, etc. And this is food, clothing. In time, these needs are continuous. This is periodic or temporary. The enjoyment from fulfilling the need, interestingly, is long-lasting or continuous. And here it is momentary. There is enjoyment, but it is momentary. So when you want momentary gratification, go here. When you want long-lasting, find a child and play with it. And when you want continuous, look for knowledge. Simple. Okay. In quantity, the needs are qualitative. They're not quantifiable. Here it is quantitative. It's limited. These needs are fulfilled by understanding or knowledge. There's no other way to do it. Or behavioral practice. This is an image I'll put later. This is fulfilled by material things only. Okay. So, not just the need of the body, but also the thrill that I get from it is also fulfilled by material things. This cannot be bought with money. This can be purchased. Hence, happiness cannot be bought. Hence, knowledge cannot be bought or sold. Because non-material, you can't pay for something that doesn't have form. Paisa dene se you get form. And what is the activity? So, the entity that takes responsibility for the actions is the mental aspect. It is called the self. Okay, that I am doing it, I am the seer, doer, enjoyer. This does not take any responsibility. This is just a set of activities that are occurring with my consent. These activities are desiring, thinking, etc. We'll come to it. But we'll also see that these activities are actually weightless. And the activities in the body have weight. Okay. We did see that this has the ability to believe. Remember the doctors सुई इंजेक्शन बिलीफ के अनुसार बदलता है. इसमें केवल recognizing, responding है. This is the seer, doer and experience. The body is a resource for the self. This is called the conscious. It is called Chaitanya. It is non-material in nature. And because it has the will to live, it is also called Jivan. And we'll come to that. I put it in red because it has Jine ki Asha. So we call it Jivan. And this is the physico-chemical, physiochemical. The right word is physico-chemical. So this is called Jad or material. And it's not just that I want to live, but I want to live with happiness and resolution. And hence, I need the body to be able to live and express. Okay. And how to live? What is the basic plan? Dono ka alag. Or understanding the four aspects of the three gyans. So this is the summary of the human being, a self and body. So when we start tomorrow, we'll start with the activities in the self. Okay. We should be done by maybe tea time tomorrow with that. And then we'll go to existence. Because God is waiting for us there. Okay. There are some more slides. You'll get tired. We'll do it tomorrow. Hanji. करना है क्या? चलो यार. अभी मैराथन ही भागना है तो भाग ही लेते हैं. So what is the basic confusion in us? Because I assume self is a body, I assume that material things are the way of life, and hence I assume that money will get me happiness. So the reason money becomes an obsession is that I feel I can fulfill myself, my needs with things material, and money can buy. Money is needed for everything material. This is the flow. Assumption 1 leads to assumption 2 leads to assumption 3. ये थोड़ा आगे पीछे है. Basic जो दुनिया पागल है इसी के कारण. There's no other reason. Okay. And because these needs are continuous, hence money has to be continuous. And because these needs are infinite, hence money is infinite. खत्म ही नहीं होता. You can never draw a line and say इतना पूरा हो गया because you would never be satiated. The satiation needs to be done with something else. So money being a limited resource cannot fulfill something that is infinite and continuous in nature. That's what we see here. And we already saw this. So we need to have different kinds of efforts for the fulfillment of the self and body. So totally different program. So I told you that after every session I'll just compare. So in idealism, so we started with why live, what is the purpose? Okay, and then we said how live. So in this is Bhakti Virakti, we spoke of this little bit. Now if you look at idealism, which is theism, supernaturalism, spiritualism and polytheism, who am I? What is the data that we have? This is very short, not extensive, it's not a research paper. I am the Atma is one option we have. I am Supreme Consciousness. Option 2, I am the soul, has different names and different languages, Ru, soul, so on. Some people say there is no inherent self. I am itself is an illusion, so there is anatma. Illalla, very different. This is Buddhism, this is Vedanta, Vishishtadvaita, Advaita, Christianity, Islam. लिखा ने भूल गया रू. सब अलग. इसका सोल इसका रूह है कि नहीं, ये दोनों यही आत्मा है कि नहीं, यही आत्मा इधर जाता है कि नहीं, और ये बोलता है ये है ही नहीं. हाँ, ये बोलता है तुम सब गोल चक्कर है, कुछ नहीं है. There is no inherent self. Nothing persists. And इसके लिए mind it, see how strong belief is. इसके लिए people are getting up at 3 o'clock, having one meal a day at 8:15, and having one this thing and becoming sannyasis. Forest tradition, Thai wala, that book that I read, to prove that I am not there. And you are after money. क्या boss? दुनिया में कितना variety है सोचो. I believe, that, just imagine, so the whole conception that I'm not there itself can be so powerful that somebody can spend their entire life to get to the state of non-being, because that state is supposed to be superior than these mundane experiences. And what are the mundane experiences? The three that we saw: the people, the things, the food, the sleep, the गाड़ी यार. What do you कहाँ लगेगा? Look at the ultimate reality. Okay, so I'm not belittling it. There are powerful states that people achieve, very good states of development that people are able to get to. In materialism, which is called bhautikvad, who am I is the brain. Is a question mark. We're not still, we as in science is still not clear whether I am created by or I am in the brain. I, the sense of I, that basically saying is a projection of the brain. The brain creates this self. There is no inherent self, which is why modern science and some Buddhists feel that modern science is saying the same thing that we were saying. Okay? What is coexistentialism saying? It's basically saying I am a human being, and you'll see what a human being. We've seen that with a compound experience which consists of conscious experience as well as physical and material experience. या physical chemical material हो गया वो physical chemical है. Okay, so that's the difference that we saw here. Not just intellectual, it's also experiential. I mean, are you huh? नहीं नहीं 13 साल में ये चार्ट तो सवेरे सवेरे उठता हूँ ना 5 o'clock. क्या करूँ था ना आई मेड दिस चार्ट डे बिफोर यस्टरडे. हाँ ऐसा है. या when did money? I think industrial revolution, when the need to produce goods, I think cheaper and better came. So basically, with the industrial revolution in Britain, and then of course with American, the Americans are credited with making the world materialistic. So money did not play such a central role. It was just restricted to this, the satiation of health and whatever you could do with the five senses, which was really very limited. Because the access to goods and the kind of goods that you could, I mean, imagine this village 100 years ago. You feel like eating something different. What will you do? You can't go anywhere. There's no hotel in Dharwad. You have to walk up to Hubli. You'll just give up. So option ही नहीं था. So what has happened is, as goods and services were devised and options came, those options became stored in people's psyches and they become options for living and ways to get happiness. And then money became a means to be able to get that. So that's one big part. The second is also, as I think, as the need for education, the need for health, and the need for larger houses, basically our consumption footprint increased to such a point where the amount of money or resources needed to take care of it itself became so large that then money took up a central part in our life. Otherwise, it was a very small part. This basic production and going, and family life. And there were ups and downs in families, right? Happened. The few people who were able to see beyond it were the people who are called the seers. They went up to the intellect and the psyche and beyond, and they were worshipped. So I'm sure this place had somebody like that. They have unka ek vigraha hai udhar. There is a murti, perhaps of the person who founded this place, and people worship it. There was a lady washing it last evening when Devika and I walked there. And she took the water that she'd put on that murti, which was dripping down, and she put it into Devika's mouth and into my mouth. So I was blessed last evening. Okay. But, and I took it. That seems to be the reason why that happened. And we all just get used to it since childhood. My daughter's used to having a different item for breakfast, different item for lunch, different item for dinner. Very hard to take her back to khichdi for dinner or having the. When we grew up, that was not the case. And now she's used to going to a restaurant and choosing kya khaoge, abhi kya counts. And now you have to pay for that. You have to pay for the school. Education was never an expense because nobody bothered about education. You didn't need education. If you're doing farming and growing carrots and selling carrots in the mandi, why do you have to go to school? You don't need schooling. So the question of why we need schooling itself has remained unanswered. I mean, if we are developing certain faculties in students, what is it that we are developing? Because we don't know who we are developing. Yeah, that's problem. If you are developing that region of the brain, then so they'll say, I'll give you a helmet next time and we'll feed in all the subjects into your head. You don't need to go through the schooling process for it. And just create all the synapses. History, you'll have a history module, skill press and you just give it. We don't know. So, in now when we look at education, now it seems, yeah, literacy is one part. I think developing logical abilities is another part. Developing memory capability. For those who have to go and work in technology, but those who just want to do farming, you don't have to study transformer design. You don't need to because you decide you don't want to go there. So, आपका व्यवसाय, if your occupation does not demand that you do that, but then you need something to develop those faculties. That something was missing or not widely available. Um, yeah, but it does seem to me that's what it seems. That's my assessment. I could be a little off, but I think that's when money became so central. Like my father says during his time when he was growing up, he said there was no money at home. There was a lot of rice with husk. Okay, वो husk से निकाल के खाना पड़ता था. And that's it. Badnekai, bendekai, badnekai, bendekai, badnekai, bendekai. That's all you got. Huh? If you're lucky, yeah. So if you are a landed person, like these people were, they had 3 acres of land, dal. Everybody else didn't get dal. Rice with previous day's dahi and salt. But life expectancy has also gone up. All that we've improved in those areas. See, health has improved. Child mortality has come up. We have saved 100% safe delivery. It is very rare to lose a mother. So people died at childbirth. Uncontrolled bleeding, घर पे unsanitary practices, sepsis होना, ये सब बहुत होता था. My father lost his mother when she was only 32, and he says we never knew what happened to her. They took her to the general hospital in Chennai, which was the only big hospital, and he said there was a Telugu doctor, and he said this is looking very big. We have to cut open and see it. Okay. And he said they cut open, and he said there were too many tumors inside, so I just stitched it up again. And she died after 5 days. She lived an organic lifestyle. She got cancer. Abhi kya bolenge? So all this we've improved. Ability to manage blood pressure, diabetes. But all this has come up. They call laptop ki bina jeena mushkil hai. This takes up 25,000 every 8 years. So if you have to pay 25,000 every 8 years, you need 3,000 every year. The chashma is costly, man. This lens costs 12,000 rupees. Because it has a wide field of vision. Because if otherwise, I cannot teach like this. I mean, I can't go close to the board and see you at the same time. Peripheral vision nahi aata hai. So progressive lens, the cheapest one is 3,000 rupees. But it gives you such a narrow field of vision. The side is all blanked out. So if I'm looking at you, I cannot see here. Kya karoge? So, yeah. From power,
For
yeah.
power and threat.
From power, yeah. We'll come to that.
Maybe they threaten other people. Like, for example, you gave an example of Hitler. So I think more than money or any materialistic gain, he would threaten people. That is what.
Yeah, we'll come to that. The need for power. So there is form, there is group, there is appearance. Okay, there is bal, physical strength to threaten or to feel good. There is pad, which is position. Okay, which is power. Money, power. Money is also power. The other kind of power is positional power. I don't have money, but I'm the district magistrate. I'm the collector, so I have power over all of you. Even though you may be richer than me, I'm the superintendent of police. So that's also there. We'll see those assumptions when we take up the self tomorrow. and look at identity.
And that is the key to subjugate people also.
Yeah, there is a need to subjugate people, and that comes from uh, animal-like tendencies that we have in us. Like if you have a herd of elephants, right, and then you have a master elephant, and there's another elephant tries to come and become the top of the herd, क्या होता है? युद्ध होता है कि नहीं? Between tigers, between dogs, same thing. So, yeah, our rule, our innateness, because we are bound by happiness, so we cannot do anything that makes us unhappy. They don't have the concept of happiness. They don't have the ability to do other than what nature intended them to do. With humans, our problem is we have to figure out what we are supposed to do and then do it. That's why we are not able to, survive just instinctively. Then so life would have been easier. So it is easier to be a goat than a human being, very clearly. And you can't go back. That's another problem. Yeah. But I mean, you can feel good up from the fact that the goat also someday has to go through all this. If that makes you feel any better. ऐसा नहीं कि मेरे को ही करना है, उसको भी करना ही पड़ेगा. अभी चर ले जितना चरना है बाबा, तेरा भी टाइम आएगा, है ना. Sorry, come again. Pattern. No, you'll just use to. I'm a little hard of hearing also. I'm sorry. I have some nerve damage in the ear. I have like 10% loss, bilateral loss. Yeah.
So there are certain patterns that I've observed. It is coming across, different generations. So that lineage, it is carried over the lineage. So what do you think about that? Is it something that can be stopped by doing some work around the behavior?
Yeah. So when you look at the patterns, you'll find that the patterns are only twofold or threefold. One pattern is to do with what you do with the senses, what kind of utilities that you need, and what work is deemed to be correct or good work. Okay. For instance, children who are growing up now will no longer want to be farmers. Even a farmer's son will not want to be a farmer because it is looked down upon by society. So that's one kind of pattern. On what kind of occupation you'll have, what is going to be a living standard. All right, will you live on a mattika house, or what kind of house you'll have? So that's one kind of pattern. But this is what you would call as what you're getting used to materially. The other kind of pattern is really some of the relationships here, not so much the father and friends and all that, but spouse and all this body count business. This is another pattern. So if society around you has a high body count, you are going to have trouble having a low body count. Because that societal pressure will keep coming on you. If you don't have a girlfriend, how come you don't? You still, your body count is 1 and 2. So आप कहीं ना कहीं you will give in कि यार चलो मैं भी try करके देखता हूँ. This is another kind of pressure which you have to call it societal pressure. Really. The third kind of pressure is actually the pattern is this. So some patterns are behavioral, some are material, some are behavioral, as you can see. Some patterns are intellectual, and this is an interesting thing. Larger and larger number of people on this planet want to understand life and living and higher realities than before. You have channels devoted to physics, to fundamental physics, to quantum physics, to theories on Vedanta. They have 1 lakh subscribers, 2 lakh subscribers. ठीक है, that TikTok video with the girl dancing has 55 lakh subscribers, but at least there are 1 lakh on this side, or 3 million and 5 million. The number is still like this, but larger and larger number of people are opening up to the need for this. I mean, today it's not uncommon to find people who left the city, went to do farming or want to do farming. So many people saying that. 30 years ago, only a madman would leave a shitty job and go to do farming. But you know there is nothing there. Why would you still? So it's a different kind of satiation you're looking for. Not just the comfort, the satiation that comes from comfort. So these patterns are there. So there are some patterns that are regressive, okay, that I feel are regressive because our basic threshold of how much is needed to live a life itself has gone so up, it is very difficult to now fulfill it and maintain it. There are some worrisome relationship, yeah, societal oriented patterns. Worrisome because it's not good in the overall scheme of things. कि उस समय को तो मजा आता है. People do it क्योंकि मजा आता है. The thing is the repercussions are, long term. So from the long term point of view, it's not such a great thing. But yeah, this is another pattern that's changing. More and more people, which is also, I think, one of the reasons why it's difficult for people to not get along because everybody has so much of opinion. Earlier, nobody had an opinion. What opinion would you have? You're growing, you're milking one cow or maybe three cows and, farming on 4 acres of land. There is no newspaper, no information. What opinion will you have? Whether to farm first or milk the cow first. Itna hi to hoga. But now with this explosion of information, everybody has an opinion. Also with this growth in the stage of development and consciousness, everybody started to think more. ये भी हो रहा है. So as you think more, you have more of an opinion. And now the opinions and views don't match. Or my right of way, I'm going to do it my way. So it's either my way or the highway. So this obstinacy has also gone up. That's another pattern that's happening. But that's like it seems to be like a civilizational pattern. It's like a civilizational change. We will have to go through it. आजकल की पत्नियों के पास ओपिनियन है ना. Earlier they didn't care. Nobody cared about your wife's opinion. It was just part of the furniture, I mean, worst come, they were like a place to produce babies. Worst come. That's still happening. Yeah. But that pattern has changed. It will change. It will not last long. हो ही रहा है ना, हर जगह हो रहा है. In Iran, in Afghanistan, there are women now coming out saying we no longer can be like that. And West भी बहुत उसको नोबेल प्राइज देता है उसको चुगली करने के लिए. That's why they keep fighting. जो उसको मार के आया उसी को नोबेल प्राइज देगा. So there's also this civilizational tussle. So yeah, good. So I was also able to put this back and forth. Oops. So today's our 4th day, huh? Okay. Okay. This it should not be much in terms of volume. With all the PowerPoint? Just the PowerPoint, you mean? No, study. This folder or all the study material? All the study material, we have an online link. I'll just give you the link and you download it from there. It's simple. It's the reading after the Parichaya Shivir. And specifically because this is not part of that, I can even upload this there. Once it is done, what I'll do is I'll just upload it to the library. So it's in one place and you don't have to, you can download it whenever you want. You don't have to bother with it getting deleted from WhatsApp. Just go back to that thing, you'll get it. Okay. And I will also give you the book, the combined book. Hopefully I should have it. This series of PPTs should be around, not much, 18 MB. ज्ञान बहुत हल्का है. म्यूजिक भारी है. म्यूजिक इज वेरी हैवी. ज्ञान भी नहीं है. ज्ञान का इंफॉर्मेशन, इंट्रोडक्टरी इंफॉर्मेशन. Yeah, but there are other PPTs that we also have online that people have made. But because you've attended this, you may, sink closer to. अच्छा. 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 Yeah. And this will help you to some extent. And after that, for the next, we'll have to proceed further. Yeah, I'll share this as soon as it is done. I'll share it. Like every day, I sit down and look at, I think आज morning को I was looking at the existence वाला थोड़ा आगे पीछे कर रहा था, just the sequence, and I'll be done by the time we hit the 1st of January. We are closing on the 2nd. What time is everybody leaving on the 2nd? I know that you're leaving on the 1st. 2nd को कौन कौन जा रहा है? 2nd night. What about you? Evening. What about you all? You have on 3rd. Nice. 3rd morning. 3rd afternoon or evening. Okay. You can go to Dandeli. You have time. 2nd. ठीक है. आपका दीदी कब है? 4th को है. Okay. You have a partner to go to Dandeli. And आप लोगों का? अच्छा, आप तो गाड़ी से आए. So, what's the plan? Oh, you'll have to leave tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Fine. So we'll close the lunch on 2nd. So you get some time to. Group photo. ठीक, कर ले लेंगे. So you'll have to leave tomorrow, is it? To go back. Okay. ठीक है. Off ಮಾಡಿ, right? Off ಮಾಡಿ.